Hey, so I want to do a video of a quite an obvious sign to show you that someone doesn't actually care about you, and that is if they um, don't talk to you much and they don't keep up with your life. They just don't seem to engage. If you send a reply or a text or something like that, they don't look at it, or if they look at it and they read it, they don't reply, or they don't reply as soon, like within a good amount of time. You know, it basically shows you that, you know, they don't seem bothered about you, so you shouldn't waste your time and energy towards that person. Family, friends, anyone. You don't need that, because the only person that's going to get hurt, again, like I always say, is going to be yourself. And if someone is doing that to you, step away. Don't engage with them. Don't share stuff. Don't share your life with them. And then they'll realize, and they'll be like, oh, well, you're not talking to me, and you're not engaging, you're not, like you used to communicate. They can say that, or they may not even care if you're totally ignoring them and decided not to talk to them. They will be like, oh, yeah, whatever, you know. So if you have someone in your life, or you've had someone in your life, and you're trying to chase or get to them, simple. If they're not there for you, if they are not interested in you, if they're not engaging with you, don't go trying to seek validation. Don't go trying to seek them back again, because if they don't want it, you shouldn't want it either. You shouldn't chase, because if you chase, you look like a fool and you'll look stupid, because it's only coming from one side and not the other. You don't need that bullshit. You don't. For example, I don't know. Let's say a partner. Let's say you guys were together for some a good amount of time, and suddenly he starts to get disinterested in you and moves away, communicates less. And if you were trying to engage with him and say, well, let's talk about this, and he's like, there's nothing to talk about. You don't talk about your own life or work or anything like that. It's just, you can't go chasing that if your partner, spouse, is just not giving you that what you had before, seems disinterested, not really replying to your texts, hardly talks to you at home or anything. I mean, it's just a sign for you to say, I'm not happy in this, and walk away, instead of trying to chase it or argue or try to be obsessed or try to overthink. There's no point in doing that, and just leave. You know. And for some people, it's hard to walk away. It's hard to walk away, especially if you are dependent on someone, or if you are in a relationship that you've been in for a long time, and then you're like, how can this person be like this? You know? But the easiest thing is, if that happens to you, just walk away. Another one will be, well, let's say your parents or someone like that. You may be in a good relationship with, or something like that, and if they suddenly just stop communicating with you, or they just seem distant with you, you can't. And I think that's a hard one, because loads of people would say that that's my mom and this and that. And I mean, I'm not trying to seek any sympathy. I mean, it happens. It happens. I mean, and if you're an adult, if you're a teenager, if you're a kid, and if you feel like you've been cut off from your family, if you feel like you've been cut off from your parents, you feel like the communication, the engagement that you had, or that you saw you had, if you felt like and it may not have happened in the way you thought, you know, and suddenly you don't have that anymore. If someone doesn't love you like that, someone doesn't care about you, you can't go seeking that. The only person that's going to get hurt is yourself. And you can't change someone, you can't get someone to care about you, to love you. And I've seen loads of instances where people are like, oh, maybe if I hurt myself, I can get them attention, I can get them to feel sorry for me. Oh, let me say I'm ill, I can get a reaction from them. oh, let me try to tell someone to chase them up. Say, oh, well, she's a caller. Oh, she's... Because that's what, like... Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it works two ways as well. So, for example, like with my situation, I've decided to cut people out of my life that I felt that were harmful and toxic and putting me in a low vibrational state that I couldn't even function myself. And that's fine to get distant. But then if they start chasing you up and start trying to lie and say, oh, well, you know, you need to call us, you need to message us, you need to you don't call that often, or you don't seem like you love us anymore, you don't seem like you care about us anymore, you know. And it's not that, oh, you know, sometimes it's hard to even say it, but if you feel like in your heart you don't love that person and you don't even care that much, it would be because it would be because your heart is closed to that person. And why would that even be? Well, because in my situation, that they've done something, that they've hurt you for a prolonged period of time, or they've done something that was just that hurt so deep that they may have cut you off. And even more so when they don't care that they're doing that, to the point where it's like you feel like you have to just not communicate with them anymore, not engage with them, not engage with their antics, their behaviours. So they come to you and say, oh, well, why are you not calling us? When you seem disinterested in us? And it's like, sweet, that's not the case. I've chosen to not talk to you. I've chosen to not communicate with you, you know. And I feel like that's okay. I feel like lots of people don't talk about that, but I think that's okay to do. It's okay to do, because people don't care about other people, they just want to use them. But you got to put yourself first and think, right, if I need to step away from them, family, friends, and if it comes across as I'm disinterested in them, then so be it. I have to do that, because you're not changing. You're not changing the way you are. You're not changing your behaviours. You're not changing anything. I've tried to reason, I've tried to talk, I've tried to make things work. But in the process of trying to do something like that, sometimes you just gotta walk away. Either you're not interested in them or they're not interested in you. It's gonna come from a point of your heart has moved on. It's gonna come from a point of I cannot be with this person anymore, or I cannot love this person anymore. And either way, both parties shouldn't fight that. Feel that, go with the flow. And if you guys need to separate. You can't go around chasing people and forcing a relationship, or forcing someone to communicate with you, because if you force that, it's not good for both parties, because you're making someone do something that they don't want to do. It's got to come naturally, it's got to flow, you know. You not in any kind of relationship, whether it is in a friendship, in a spouse, in a partner, in a sibling, in a parent. You know, I'm personally with me, I never saw eye to eye with my parents. There's always been bitter, so always been like they're fighting, and having like, I mean, obviously that's a whole nother situation, but having a household, being in a household where families are always fighting does affect the kids. It always affects other people in the house, whether they like it or not. And also with their passive frustration and their behaviour, they release it on other people in the house, and they release the energy. And if someone's brought up in that energy, then it's just, it can really change my own mindset when it comes to relationships, in a good and bad way, because you kind of get used to, oh, this is a norm. I can't imagine what a normal relationship is, because for me, that's what it is, and I don't want that, so I don't want to be in a relationship. So it really affects, you know, people's willingness to communicate and be interested in anyone. And let's say you find someone, it's so easy to be in a toxic relationship because you may think that's the norm when you just grew up in that. Or is someone with a genuine person and kind, and you may just put up your barriers and you may think this is not normal. This is alien to me. This isn't a decent. This isn't a normal relationship. You know, should it be like this? Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it really just depends. But I mean, going beside the point with my situation with my mum, I decided to not engage. And it may come across as I'm not interested in that person anymore. And if that is the case, then yes, because of what she's put onto me. So to the point where I felt like, and I'm sure there's other people who may feel like this, to the point where you stop really caring about that person anymore, and you stop really loving that person. I'll still help out financially, I'll still be there, don't get me wrong, but it comes to the point where I know I'm being used so much that you don't need to emotionally manipulate me too. You don't need to emotionally get me too. You don't need to physically get my attention and presence so that I have to be in a certain place, be in a certain situation, have to tell you my whereabouts, have to tell you all of this, like the past. Like, and you want access to my financials and you want access to everything. It gets to a point where it's like, this is too much controlling. This is too much manipulative. You know, it's just unhealthy. So it may come across as someone's not being interested to now someone that's actually saying, you're hurting me, I'm moving away. And that's okay to do. I'm not saying, it depends on everyone's situation, and it's not an easy option to do. Trust me, it's not the easy path to take. Sometimes I think back and think, am I doing the right thing? Am I even doing the right thing? At the end of the day, she is my mum. But at the same time, it's like, yes, she's just another human being that's just taken advantage of someone and hurting someone. And yes, I've tried to talk up to, try to talk it out. Doesn't change. It doesn't change, because why? Lesson number one, you can't change someone. No matter how much you cry, scream, beg, talk to them. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how many times you call them and you text them. They don't care. They don't understand. If someone doesn't understand something so simple, instead of wasting your breath and wasting your voice and wasting your energy, guess what? Just don't do it anymore. Leave. Again, not easy to say, and it can be in any relationship. Maybe it's a relationship with your sibling, relationship with a spouse, relationship even at work. If your manager's not even listening to you, you feel like you're trying to reason with someone and they're just taking advantage of you. It is not a healthy relationship. So if someone is not there for you and doesn't care for you, there are signs, and signs to show you that you've got to step away. Yes, they may totally ghost you and blank you, and that's a sign for you to not chase them. And two, they may be doing it too much and trying to get an emotional response from you, and again, another sign for you to move away. I just felt like that was something that needed to be pointed out. And especially talking from experience, I mean, I'm sure everyone has experience in this, but talking from, like, if you have to distance yourself from family, it can feel so uncomfortable, especially if they throw at you like, oh, you have no one but us. And it makes you think, why are they doing that? Why are they throwing that in the pit? Because they're showing you that we can get away with it and we can do this, and we know that you have no one, so you have to just take it and accept it. Accept that this is your life. Accept that this is how we're gonna be, and you have to just take on the chin. Do you think that's reasonable? Do you think that's right? No. People shouldn't be silent about it, and if you're going to try and argue with them and realise that they're not going to change, stop arguing with them. Leave. Just get out. Take your stuff. get out the door. It's easy to say. I mean, obviously it depends on everyone's situation, financial situation, and every other situation, like money wise. Maybe you're not so good. Maybe you don't have a job. Maybe you have some sort of physical or like mental situation that you can't get out of and you need to be there. I don't know, but you would have to figure it out in some way, shape or form to realise that this is an unhealthy situation I'm in. I do need to get out. I hope that this video brings some sort of clarity on your own situation, if you are facing something similar to it. But yeah, I hope that this helps.